Hello, hopefully all of you can hear me. Someone let me know in the chat if you can. Had a few technical issues connecting the stream up, but do let me know. Just drinking some tea. Well, someone just let me know, definitely. Was that a yeah from Wargaming for Fun that you can hear me? Sound good? Brilliant. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. Right, so I haven't streamed for ages, and I realised all my settings on OBS were for Twitch, which was the last time I streamed. So I hit start stream, and it obviously didn't work because I'm an idiot. But many reasons for doing this today. One, because I haven't done it for ages, it's always a bit fun. Second one is the stream is sponsored by CamStream. They sent me an email and said, would you like one of these for free and try it out? So I said yes, but essentially it means I can connect my proper 4K camera, which I use for filming all of my painting tutorials and things properly for stream. And I had something before that worked a little bit, but this gives me 4K. I say 4K, I think it goes up to 2160, still pretty good, and it doesn't crash my system like the old one used to. So it's not very expensive, actually. It's about £60. I checked it on Amazon. If anyone else is looking for one of those, go and grab one. It works. And some of my students who join me from the Patreon, who have their coaching painting lessons, have seen it in operation already, and so will you in a bit, because we're going to look at this big beastie here, which I haven't opened at all yet, and I'm going to take the tape off now because I'm going to knock my camera loads when I open this up on the desk in a moment. But exciting stuff. I was sent that about a week ago. It was supposed to arrive a little bit earlier. If you follow Games Workshop stuff, you'll know they have all their articles on Warcom, and they have the community painting articles running up to the release of a new product as part of the marketing. And you get an email every now and then saying, would you like to paint some models for an article? If so, fill in this mini questionnaire, and then they send you the stuff. And I said yes, I would, because I wanted to paint some Skaven, and it arrived the day after the deadline for me sending stuff in. So yeah, I got out of painting for the article, but it's always nice to do it. But it meant that I got the set, and I'm very aware it's sold out twice now, so it makes me feel a little bit guilty. But there's so much in here that I think I can put good use to, and I thought it'd be really fun to do, test out the camera, fulfill my commitments to CamStream for them sending me a free thing, but also just sort of go through the box with a few of you telling me in the chat what you'd use the bits for. I'm doing this on my own. I've got no one helping me with the chat or anything. So while I'm looking at the camera talking to you, I'm not looking at the chat. So I'll check every now and then, see if anyone's come up with anything really, really cool for it. But it won't be the longest stream in the world. The kids are now in bed. There shouldn't be any noise. About 20 minutes ago, it sounded like the recreation of the Battle of the Somme downstairs when I was splashing in and out of the bath. But it's a little bit quiet now, so hopefully I won't be disturbed as well. But thank you for all of you who have joined tonight. I know a lot of you. I've just reminded people in the Discord that I'm doing this. And yeah, shall we head into this box? I've set the chat up over here as well, and I say over here because this is my filming bit, which you'll all see, you'll know from my videos, but my desk is actually here when I do all the painting and things. So what I should be able to do now is flick over to desk cam, and I am going to knock the camera. It's going to shake when I remove the lid probably, but after that we should be able to have a little look at the stuff that's inside. Hopefully that's lit enough and you can see it well enough. But as we expect, loads and loads of sprays. So what I'm going to do the boring stuff first. For my point of view anyway, we'll look at the books and stuff very, very quickly, because I know some of you are Age of Sigmar fans and things. I don't play it myself, but I know some of you are, and you may be interested in seeing what's inside the rest of the box. As usual, round bases, probably won't be using those. And here we have, let me get my trusty blade, which I've buried. We'll have a little look at the stuff inside for those of you that are interested. There we go. So, again, anyone here play Age of Sigmar as well? Anything they want to see? You've probably already seen it from all of the channels that would cover this anyway. Do let me know in the chat. If I miss it, I apologise. But it's, as I say, it's not something I'd really understand a great deal. There's not a lot in that book, to be honest with you. It's really just the battle plans and their stats. Very, very small book, 25 pages. And that little one there. And then we have the handbook. And I'm assuming that they put in, this works like a starter set. Yeah, it looks like it does. So your Mortal Realms, your How to Builds. It's always a shame when they put these in the books, I'm afraid. But I get why they do. Nice proper book, and you can send the instructions inside. That is very, very cool art, even though as I say, I don't really follow Sigmar very much at all. You can expect pretty looking stuff from Games Workshop. They very rarely produce what's a bad looking book, but then learn how to play. There was a little bit of me that said this would be cool with my boys to learn how to play it. And if there hadn't been so many beautiful miniatures that I've got other ideas for, I may have been putting them on their rounds and trying it out, but there's just too much cool stuff to stick on a square base, I think. And we got the cards. I'm not going to get all the cards out. I think that this looks like there's some Cities of Sigmar transfers as well. But this interested me, as I feel like it's not going to work very well on this camera angle. So it's double-sided. It's quite a thick card, and I know it's got the little circular templates for objectives, but it's done quite sympathetically, I think. So it just looks like it's part of the environment, and that's really cool. This is beautiful artwork, to be honest with you. This board I can see using for little games of Warhammer Skirmish, using for Mordheim, and just ignoring the fact that they're supposed to be little objectives. It's just really nice and thematic. So that board's really good. That's why I think this set has excited so many people. It's been the amount of different communities that I've seen get excited about this set, when the Mordheim Facebook groups are all talking about it being the new Mordheim starter, jokingly of course, but still makes you can understand why people are saying that. Let me try and separate things up a little bit. And yeah, I just think it's got so many communities excited. Obviously Old World, because of the amount of conversion stuff, and Skaven, which is clearly just going to be used as Skaven. And I thought it was a really cool set. It's a shame that it's gone out of stock so quickly. Obviously all these miniatures will be available on their own. Now the Cities of Sigmar stuff, I think they're absolutely stunning miniatures, and they're going to be a nice basis for lots of stuff, but they don't excite me quite as much at the moment. I think they need a little bit more work. There's very Sigmar-y parts, the designs, the little diamond-shaped designs and things you see on everything would all have to come off in my mind if I was using it for Mordheim or using it for the Old World. But after that, they start looking pretty good. They will be quite big, they're quite tall, but loads and loads of Mordheim possibilities. And then for Old World, things like their you got your alternative blunderbusses, I suppose, if you're doing brigands for Renegade Crowns. I think that would be really, really, really cool. Thank you, Rocket. It was really, really kind of you. Yeah, I just think they've got lots of possibilities. The problem being is that you might end up wanting more than you actually get in the box, which means it's going to cost you an awful lot of money. So you've got the 10 Free Guild Grenadiers and 5 Free Guild Gallants. The Grenadiers maybe, because of the depends how many you've got with the sort of the blunderbuss type things, but very, very cool. And the Gallants, I don't know if we can find the actual sprue for those. I think that's these guys here, which are essentially the Foot Knights. Now I think these are wonderful. lots of, like I said, bits to trim off, to de-Sigmar them, but they could provide you some really, really nice foot knights or some Renegade Crowns themed stuff. Again, that's when my brain keeps going to. Some sellswords, some veteran sellswords in full plate or in heavy armour. I think they'd just be wonderful. The problem being, again, is you get 5 in this set, which is now sold out. No doubt that they will be, how much is a box for Age of Sigmar these days? Like 40 quid maybe for 5, 35, 40 pounds for 5 of them. It's going to get very, very expensive to build a unit of 20 or something like that, but I would really love to do it. It would be such a really cool conversion, and the background that you could give these guys would be really fantastic. And they are very, very cool. I'm just, is whether I want to feel super, super rich just to make use of the miniatures. They are that detailed enough. They'll make good characters though. You can use them as your renegade princes and things. Lots of options there. But they are pretty cool. Maybe mix and match them in with some of the armour from the Bretonnian foot knights. It might be a way to fill it out in a slightly less expensive kind of way, and mix the armour across quite a few miniatures and really mix it up that way. But let me know in the comments if you think they've got any legs there. I should have prepared some pictures of the photograph miniatures. Maybe I'll use the bottom of the box in a moment. And you've got the priest guy. What do they call him? I'm not quite sure. Malleus Forge Priest. Now I think he's got Priestess Sigmar written all over him. A couple of different heads by the looks of things as well. Definitely would be cool. Maybe trim this a little bit off the back or file it down. Yeah, I want to make him into a priest of Sigmar. I've been set a bit of a challenge as well to turn one of the cogforts into some kind of war altar, and maybe he could ride that. So you have to use a lot less of that cogfort, but they would be cool. It's something I've got down on my list of ideas if it's a possibility, but quite like that. Then we of course have lots of Skaven. Oh no, one more of the Sigmar guys. So this is the, what's his name? Jorvan Creel. So he'd make a nice witch hunter, wouldn't he? To be honest with you, and he's got his little doggo. Everyone loves a doggo when it comes in miniature form. Pretty cool. Again, just really stunning Citadel miniatures, to be honest with you. And when you're using those characters, the scale being slightly larger won't matter too much. So that's an easier one to use, I think. Right then, Skaven. What everyone's waiting for, I think. So is it 2 identical frames? It is. So we can put one to the side. I'm using my iPad to keep an eye on the chat, and it just decided to pop up with an advert for me, so I was going to keep an eye on what people are saying. But these are super crisp, and you've got 10 gutter runners and 10 night runners, so you maybe want to pick up a few more. I was chatting to Mark Langley, who's in the chat today, about this the other day, about what sort of size units, and obviously going for units of 13, which is thematic, but also means you can absorb a couple of casualties and still score, etc. But these are super cool, and if I've got time to, the plan is to paint some of these for a video coming soon, next few weeks or so, definitely in May at some point. Because it will be really fun, especially during a long break of news for Warhammer the Old World. Someone commented on my video when I told my Do Not Panic video earlier today. Still no news. Well, as to be expected with 40k being so popular, I think. I'm definitely not too stressed about it as yet. It's a shame they couldn't tease us with something to keep us going, keep us excited, but they tend to have a rule, don't they, that you don't sell you stuff unless it's going to be available on sale within 3 months. Usually, this was the odd exception. So it probably means that we're not getting stuff in time yet. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe they'll surprise us. And then we got our Skaven characters as well. So it's Deathmaster Crixit and another Deathmaster. This one's got a lot going to be going on the base, but maybe it could tone that down a little bit. and not have him on. You can, it's moulded feet to it, but you could quite easily trim here and reduce that if it looked a bit high, but he has got quite a long cape thing there. So that's something to play around with. This guy feels like old school Warhammer, to be honest with you. No problem at all there. Again, these Skaven will be slightly larger in scale, but then no issues at all. And I love all the new stuff. It would be a shame not to use it. It's such a nice sculpt, and they don't feel like there's anything particularly special about them that make them Sigmar. Again, say in the comments if there's something about the new Skaven I've missed, but they just look like, excuse me, they just look like Skaven to me. And then this stuff, this is really fun as well. It does have that Age of Sigmar look all over it. Doesn't mean it's any less cool, but it does make me think Sigmar, and of course it should because it's for Sigmar. But this kind of emblem everywhere, the sort of diamond square type design that's everywhere. But again, I don't think that's something that's insurmountable in terms of making this work. Some of the little designs like this, you could just fill that in on the brickwork here as well. That's just indented, so you could just fill that in with plastic putty or something, or green stuff or liquid green stuff, no problem at all. Again, you could fill that in or not use it at all, just cover a bit of sand over the top of it, make it look like it's a little extra dirty, and turn it into an objective marker. The same with that. That's going to be extremely easy to file off that little design on the barrel there, and have a smooth thing. So this is really good stuff for it. The banner does have that big shape on it again as well, so that I'd probably Dremel off, or again just cover it. You can always use a bit of tissue paper or something like that to turn into a second flag or something over the top. There are ways always of doing stuff, even to stick a tree or a shrub over the top of it. And even areas like this, you could actually cut that out with a knife and turn it into a window. This bit, just remove that middle section. And then again, it's going to make great looking wartime terrain, or even just terrain for your old world table, just a semi-ruined building or something like that. We don't tend to see quite as much of that. So this I do want to work on, and maybe that will be a video I do relatively soon, converting this to use for more of a different era of Warhammer, because I think that this one is pretty cool. Does anyone want to see anything in particular from the box? Anything that I've whizzed over or shown too fast? I'll just check on the comments. Get in there fast. Oh, there we go. If we look on this side, there's more stuff to cover up a bit, but again, that's indented, so you could fill that in. Yeah, I didn't see it being a huge issue. Yeah, but maybe that'll be fine. A fun video to see if I can old world this. I'll turn it into a bit more of a old worldy theme. But a great set. No wonder it's sold out so quickly. Makes you wonder why all their sets on this. It shows you the power sometimes when you don't stick Stormcast in something, and it's still a really exciting set that people wanted to pick up, and maybe they realising that the really strong imagery of Cities of Sigmar is becoming. I'm guessing they're selling well now. That's why they're supporting them with things like Cogforts and stuff like that. Bizarrely enough, it was the thing that put me off getting into Sigmar when the world blew up, is that there didn't seem to be a human faction, because the Stormcast definitely weren't human enough, and I always like human factions. It grounds my understanding of a fantasy world. I need to know where people live, where they buy a loaf of bread, what do they do for a living. And if everything seems too fantastical, too high fantasy, then I struggle to kind of absorb myself in the world. So that's just a personal preference. If Cities of Sigmar had been around at launch, I probably would have tried the game a long time ago, to be honest with you. And I don't regret that now, because I'm very happy with old world being around. But yeah, I think it's a shame, but it's a good thing they've learnt that now. Might be fun to build one of these. this new Skaven and have a little look and see what he builds up like while I natter around and try and catch up on the chat. I see Mark's being busy in the chat. Hi Dan. Really excited for AOS, although their death minis are on fire. Yeah, they've always been really good for that range. It's just a all-round strong aesthetic, isn't it? Always has been for them, and probably one of the reasons why we've not seen any undead stuff other than dry dead in Warhammer the Old Blood as it stands. I was saying might be good as Tower Guard or a Minor Baron. Border Princes, yeah, exactly the kind of thing I was thinking of. Loads and loads of themes. Just the cost of building a whole unit. I'd love to de-Sigmarify the whole of those in 5 nights and have 20 of them and just turn them into these amazing elite Renegade Crowns and Veteran Sellswords. It would be really cool, but I don't think I love them enough to end up spending, what, 100 quid on the unit, and God knows what it would cost, even with discount prices, to start getting a little bit much. What else we got? Skaven are definitely going to work for Old World. Also, more time for sure. Yeah. Wonder if we're looking at Kislev as our next big release. I hope so too. I feel they might hold them back. I have nothing to tell. Nothing. No news on that at all. I just wonder now whether that would make sense to make that part of a second edition release at some point. The rumours obviously are all about second edition being launched with that Wood Elf Tomb Kings starter set, which I'm still struggling to get my head around, but it keeps coming back, doesn't it, as a rumour, so maybe there is something in it. I'm sure they'll have an idea. It just doesn't feel like the most logical match. In fact, here's a question for you. Is that the most left field of the matchups based on the factions that are currently in the game? Obviously, Legacy should be there, but they're not. Is that the most left field matchup? It feels like out of factions they could have gone with, it would make sense to go with some. I thought they would have gone with some new Empire and tried to update the state troops or something like that, with Empire so much fighting the Chaos in the north, and there's all these rumours about new Chaos. Can you imagine Empire versus Chaos Warriors? Chaos Warriors wouldn't need too many miniatures in the start set, and Empire need an update for some of theirs or something like that. I mean, you can even have Empire mounted knights fighting Chaos Warriors on foot or something as the start set, and update 2 units as you go. But who knows what it'll be. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera when I file. Rocket. I recently had 2 interviews with GW. Didn't get the third. I think they picked up on Old World being my favourite game. You didn't drink the Kool-Aid enough when it comes to 40k and Age of Sigmar. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Maybe it was. Is there any independents you can go and work for in where you live? Might be a better option. I'm so happy to finally have normal human buildings kit in Age of Sigmar. Scalarem, yeah. It's not much terrain at all, is there these days? Not much at all. I think it's because their return, from what I heard, their returns on terrain is quite poor in terms of money and things, and the production time and all the rest. So they don't tend to make too much. But it does feel like they've kind of given up on that market as a whole, and they'll bring stuff out as a bit of a launch, but then leave it, which is a shame. I used to love all the terrain kits, and Old World have probably brought back more than the other stuff the other games have now. It's weird when you go on the website and search for scenery and terrain. Most of it's sort of spells and stuff, isn't it? Weird. Yeah, knocked it out of the park when they remade the city's models. It's a beautiful take on Gothic. Yeah, I think it's, as much as I prefer Old World, I can really appreciate what they did with Sea of Sigmar. I just think it's a really strong aesthetic. The miniatures are really cool. It's not the thing that would attract me most to a game compared to what else is on the market, but it is pretty cool. What sprue clippers do I use? These are the little free ones that came with the Spearhead set. I ordered the first 2 issues so I could get the Skaven in issue 1, and they came with it as part of the first month's thing. Cost about £5 including postage, because they'd all sold out by the time I got to the shops. But I changed them all the time, to be honest with you, because I'm really bad with them and cut metal and things and put dents in them. Need to get myself some posh ones at some point. I've got some new things to review being sent to me. So I don't know, the guys from the Discord will know this. I shared a picture of the new Mantic Hills. I don't know if anyone's seen those. I'm not going to go and find the link for them now on the Mantic website. But they're 18 quid for 2 sort of hard plastic hills, like the GW ones. I don't know, size matches up. But they got in touch the other day, actually, and they're sending me some along with some other terrain to review. So I look forward to doing that on the channel. There's a mixture of things in their terrain sets, and they're doing mats and stuff. They're not sending me one of those, but one of their new terrain sets has got a couple of those hills, and it's got some, I don't know if it's MDF or card, but some pre-coloured buildings you pop together, but then also some plastic walls and things as well. And if you follow the rules layout for the terrain layout for Old World, you've probably got enough for 2 tables, and it's about, I don't know, I can't remember how much it was actually, so I don't want to quote wrong, but I think if you were building for a club or something like that, you could get some stuff together quite quickly. Dan, I'm struggling with needing 3 interviews to be a GW staffer back in the day. You just needed to turn up once without having an obvious alcohol issue, and they'd have you in a blue shirt. Yeah. Well, I'm unlike many, I've never worked for GW, though I did, funnily enough, apply not long after I got back into the hobby. I was in a job that I wanted to leave, and I applied for their management program and got through to the assessment day. They used to do that then. They used to do like an all-day assessment day up at HQ, and you could do, I think you're supposed to demonstrate games and things, and your enthusiasm and all the rest. And then between the time of being offered that and the actual interview, I did a little bit more research on how much they paid, and realised I couldn't afford to take the pay cut that it would have been to go. So I phoned up and declined, which is a shame, because I think it's widely reported that, I don't know how it is now, but that was back in what, 2010 or something like that, 2011. I think it's widely reported that they don't pay their retail staff very well, and I can imagine they still don't. In fact, retail people in general don't get paid very well. But if the job I was in, which was in a management position, paid an awful lot more than what they were paying, which says a lot. Might be a reason why Warcry hasn't really got anything new for a while. Yeah. I think someone mentioned right at the beginning of the chat before we started there, it's the set that Warcry should have had. It feels, doesn't it, like Warcry has gone, and they don't announce things, do they, very often? They don't announce the death of games, they just kind of disappear. And it's a real shame. I know there's a real core following, and by all regards, the actual game was fantastic. Never tried it. But I don't know. I struggled with it. I liked every miniature they brought out, I think. They all looked good, but it just didn't feel like it completely fit in with anything. And I always wondered why they didn't make it into a proper Age of Sigmar skirmish with recognisable factions, more than sort of something that was a little bit more wild and the periphery of it. And don't get me wrong, artistically they were brilliant, and as ideas they were fantastic, but I'll look for the button ad for the assembly instructions. But did they need to go that far? Would it have maybe been a better way to get people involved by making it a bit more recognisable? I don't know. Who knows? But it felt, for me anyway, that it just, if they had Maybe if they didn't have underworlds, it would have worked. If they didn't have underworlds and the kind of size, the kind of some of the warbands that are in underworlds, if they also had rules for Warcry and it worked that way, it could have been really cool. So I'm going to have a slurp of tea. That is tea, when you see that horrible yellow colour, by the way. But, it's the evening, so I'm on my jasmine tea now, so I can actually sleep tonight. Let's find my glue as well. I haven't dug any square bases out. I might have to leave that to the end. Right then, what have I trimmed that I shouldn't have trimmed? That's why Find My Glue won't work. So we got, I'm joking. I mean, AOS Interested missed out on City of Ash. I think like a lot of people. It did go out of stock really quick, and then I know it came back in. They tend to do that at the moment. I guess they keep a bit of a reserve stock back and then stick some more out unless they, I don't know, find some on a shelf somewhere. I think it was back in stock for a little while. I wonder, I'd love to know, and maybe they'd love to know as well, what number of those City of Ash boxes, what percentage are being used for Age of Sigmar and what percentage is gone for people using other games. And I'm sure the narrative from fans of fantasy and not Age of Sigmar is, oh, everyone's buying it for, but it's probably not as much as people would like to think. I imagine a lot of people who love Sigmar are buying it, but still would be cool to know, wouldn't it? How many people have bought these and are sticking them on square bases as a percentage. I doubt it's that many. I'm going to make a mistake with this because I'm not really following the instructions. I'm going old school on it and just seeing what fits where. So I'll find out in a minute that I should have stuck the head in first or something like that. Oh, I think we're all right. Talking of heads, have I glued the head together? Do I need to glue the head together? 3 parts for a head. Why do you do that? Why do that? As Mark was saying, the allowance on the friendly local gaming stores is really low for, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. You always see that with releases around the time of 40k as well. They need to make sure that they don't. I wonder how long they've been printing boxes of Armageddon to make sure they've got enough stock, and they didn't sell out last time round, did they? They made so many. What am I doing wrong here? Probably got... I'm making a mess of this. Fingers and thumbs. It might be because I got the wrong side of his face. Would have something to do with it, wouldn't it? Now I imagine they've spent a lot of time building stock up of 40k, and because of that, some other game systems maybe only get 80% of the plastic run that they may have done if it wasn't a 40k release. I'm making this up, by the way, but I can imagine a world where that kind of thing happens because they'd rather run out of something like City of Ash than run out of something like 40k. Underworld's consistently has the best models. Always felt like GW didn't know what to do with the most side of the game. Yeah, Dr. Phantasma. Yeah, potentially. I've never tried Underworlds, to be honest with you. It's something my wife might have enjoyed because it's more of a sort of a strategy board game or something. Way of getting her playing miniatures. I think the sets are amazing. I've used them for wartime stuff. I know Dan has for his Skaven. So I love what they do with it, but I don't get. I think most of them make their way into Age of Sigmar, but I don't know. Age of Sigmar players, do they end up unbalancing the game? Do they have to think, wow, this is a character unit, so we have to create a sort of character level set of rules for them in Sigmar, and does that then create imbalance? Because miniatures design comes first, doesn't it? We know that's the way they work. So the design comes along, and then it's the rules, and that's why games aren't balanced really in many ways, because they don't start with right, this faction needs this unit type, this unit type, this unit type, this unit type. I'm going to see, without making too much noise, if I can find, there we go, the square base. Well, that glue sets a little bit. Kill Team confuses me as well. I know it's a really well respected game. I don't know if anyone here plays it, but as someone with an aging brain, I just want to play a 40k skirmish game. I don't want to play a 40k skirmish game with a completely different set of rules that doesn't use the stats at all from 40k. When I wanted to play some skirmish 40k with my boys, I picked up Kill Team and I read the rules and I thought, this is more complicated than they need, and it was easier to kind of use the 40k rules stripped down and just run it instead of unit strength of whatever the unit is, just run it as a single miniature but do everything else. So each miniature acted like a unit, and it worked really well, and it was easier to teach than it was to sort of teach them how to play Kill Team. And again, that's someone who loves Kill Team and loves the way it works, then they'll obviously wouldn't want that to happen. That would take away the game that they love. So I appreciate it's a very selfish opinion there, but I just thought, I just wish it was using some of the core mechanics and the same stat lines as 40k. And then maybe that was the problem again with Warcry a little bit. I can see how that's supposed to fit. It just feels like it's going to be a bit... I thought that was a little nub to fit on there. I'm going to file it off. Should be letting this dry before I stick the next bit on. I just wanted to finish one miniature on the stream. I'm not going to be building the rest, that's for sure. You'd all be falling asleep long before that happens. Try and read some chat while I'm holding that. Talking about the miniatures, Underworld for me was alternative models for Warhammer the Old World. Some great vampires, yeah, Rolling Mattis, absolutely. That's the way I always see it. See if you can get hold of Shadow Wars Armageddon. I may even have a copy. So I've forgotten about that. That was like the little, wasn't it? It was Orcs and Space Marines, wasn't it? And it was like they sort of brought it out as a skirmish version of 40k, and then it almost got ditched and replaced straight away by Kill Team. Or maybe they were testing the water with it a little bit. There we go. If you can see, it's harder for me to zoom when I've got it connected to my Mac using that card, because it doesn't zoom the way it normally would do. But if I move it too close, will it stay in focus? Up to that point. Yeah, well, you can see the miniature online anyway, can't you? But he's cool. For me, just straight Old World, no need to do anything there. Even the little thing on the stone wall there is just a flaming comet, maybe. Either way, easy enough. He's pretty cool. Yeah. Have a little look, see if I missed anything on the chat. I'm going to switch back to my face in a minute, and we can talk better, because I'm not going to be building any more of those. So give me a moment, and there we go. You should see me again. I'd say I'm all my glory, but let's be honest. I was wondering earlier today whether I'm going to be able to do this. I started to feel that, that feeling when you're coming down with a cold, and my throat was dry. I'm just about held out, and I'm interviewing someone tomorrow for Friday's video, all about a very cool online tool, or an app tool for doing some cool, I said cool about 5 times in a sentence, haven't I? This is where if I'm recording a normal video I would swear and cut. But I can't because I'm live, to do with campaigns for Warhammer the Old World. primarily at the moment you'll be able to use for any game system in the future, I think. But really loads and loads of amazing functions, which I won't go into too much here. Mark knows what I'm talking about. So I'll be interviewing David tomorrow, and that'll be Friday's video with lots of demonstration about it. It's really, really nice thing. I'm going to stop myself from saying cool there. And it's, yeah, I'm really excited for it, and I think you will be. If you like your narrative gaming, you love your old world stuff, I think it'll be something that really sort of piques some interest. It's got so many uses for different people. And that's really cool. So hopefully tomorrow, even if I am a little bit poorly, he's going to be doing most of the talking anyway. So I'm hoping my voice holds out, and then I can see where we get to. I'll be thinking of anything else I can show you. I've got things around that I can't show you. I've got lots of stuff lined up at the moment, little bits, little painting videos planned here and there. But I'm looking for that Mantic stuff arriving. I've got some more. Got a bag here. So I showed off that little mini compressor from Gallery. I've got to keep saying Gallery, not Gallery. And they had some paint before, and they sent me loads, and I didn't review half of them because they're all gloss. But I think, there you go. So they'll all be gloss. Primary set B, 24 colours. So I probably won't cover those, but one of the sets, 12 clear colours. Let's open these up and have a look, see what we've got. I will do a proper review of these. And then there's 12 set of matte paint as well. Always like a new paint range to try. So 12 clears. So I don't know if they're just kind of clears like you would run for just for an airbrush, or whether they're a contrasty side. I think they're just clears, because a lot of the paints they make are using Gundam and model cars and things like that. Your posh model car type stuff, not your Morris Minor or something like that. Rusty Morris Minor thing. Let's see what's in this one. I think these are matte, which means I might actually be able to review them properly. But they send me lots of stuff, which is always nice of them. Yes, 12 primary matte colours, which is quite interesting as well. So I will do something with them on the channel when I have time. I've got lots of little review videos I can do, and I try not to do too many because they don't always go down very well. Sometimes they go really well, and Monday's mini compressor video really has not gone down very well. People haven't watched, no one's complaining, just no one's watching it, and I can understand that too much of that kind of stuff is just a bit repetitive, which is a shame. What else, where have they gone? I've got something else today as well. So Knott's Hobbies, who I use their sponging tool and stuff all the time, and as some of you may remember, a little while ago they brought out 2 oil washes, a verdigris and a grime, and they're such a small business. I love supporting him. Based in Nottingham, funnily enough, for Knott's Hobbies, but there's 3 new colours. So oil wash, sorry, this one's carbon oil wash. We have mud and molten, which is white, which hopefully will work well for going. You may have seen tutorials where painters will put them in the grills of plasma guns and things like that, and then afterwards, once it's dry, you airbrush over the top and it looks like you've got the molten part underneath. So I'll be really interested to try those out, especially as I'm lazy and I like ready mixed oils, and I can't always get hold of the ones I want to, but these look good. So you basically got sort of a mid brown and a dark brown. That could be what I need to replace the scale 75 ones when I can't get hold of. So those are interesting. Really nice to see his business is still growing, as small as it is. It does need a few dry brushes, that dry palette and the sponges, and 5 ready mixed oil paints. That's all he's got at the moment. I think there's some brushes coming soon as well, some normal brushes, so they will be interesting to try as well. I'm not sure anyone can take me away from my Rosemary & Co. I've tried lots of stuff. I keep getting contacted by Golden Maple, which you'll have no doubt seen. I think it's a Chinese brush making company. And I'm not against that kind of thing at all. People want to use them and they might be fine, but I really like supporting Rosemary & Co, because I know they're a British brush maker, and there's so much stuff gets made outside of the UK now. It's nice that when they do genuinely make good stuff, it's nice to keep using those things and not always just go for the cheap mass market alternatives. Let's see anything else in the chat. Dan talking about Shadow War still. Yeah, I'm really interested in that. I might have to search online later and see if anyone ever put a copy out as a PDF. Shadow Wars is almost identical to Necromunda 95, i.e. 40k skirmish. That really does sound, especially if it's semi-compatible with the modern iteration. Was it after 8th out? So it's got the modern stat lines and things. It'll be interesting, because obviously if it's so old it uses a different set of rules to what I'm going to learn for 11th. That would be, probably wouldn't do what I wanted it to, but it'd be interesting to see if it's useful. Train ready to cross over the market. Yeah, so yeah, lots of little itty, but I won't keep you much longer. I'll finish up in the next 5-10 minutes ago. Lots of little bits going on, and some of you know about that, because if you're patrons, you'll know I do my little view from the workbench where I just rabbit for 10 minutes in the morning or something. I'll talk about a little bit about some of the stuff I've got coming out, but I've got loads of little things that I'm just looking around at my censored corner here that never gets in a camera angle where I store stuff, and there's lots of things that I'm going to be coming up in the next month or so, which will be shown off, sometimes painting tutorials and things. They're always the main games I cover. They're things I cover less often, should we say. I won't go any further than that. But lots of cool things. But it's very hard for me to say, oh, this is coming up, and this is coming up, and this is coming up. Mark and I planned our next episode for the Old Welders, which has gone really well. Thank you if anyone has been watching that. Each episode's done pretty good. So we've got our next topic sorted. And I'm sure we'll be trying to find time to record that next week. Whether it'll be out next week, I don't know, but we will see. Let me see if there's anything planned video wise that I can share with you without breaking any NDAs, which is no. So one other thing, is it in reach? No, I'll show you the old one, the one I currently use. So he says, stuck to my desk. Now, you might have seen these things on the, especially if you use Facebook, you'll have no doubt seen spammed by adverts for these things. Cryroofy or something like that, sounds like a dodgy name, but they've got a new Kickstarter coming out for an updated version of that. It has lots of trays that clip underneath. Some of them are wet pallets, so I've started using the wet pallet recently. It's because it takes up less real estate on my desk, and it also means because it's small, I change the paper more often, which means I'm less likely to have horrible moldy paper. But I've been using it quite a lot. I used to use it just when I painted downstairs, but I've been using it as my main thing for a while, and I've used this as my brush holder and water pot for ages now. That's why it's so grim and dirty. But they sent me the new one. It's just slightly different colour, but other than that, it's the same kit. But there's some new cool stuff, and there's a glass palette as well in one of the sections now that clips off, and there's a texture palette as well. This is resin, but you can obviously do your dry brushing on there first to see how much paint is coming off. Really nice little extra touches, which are designed at miniature painters, whereas that was designed at artists in general. So whether you're a watercolour artist or something like that, this was aimed at sort of anyone really. And yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. But they've asked me to do not just review it as a sponsored video, show my desk. So I'm going to do an up-to-date office studio tour, which means I need to tidy, because it's a real state at the moment. I've got projects going all over the place. So I'll do a quick tidy, get some boxes out of the way. I have to make sure that everything that shouldn't be or can't be shown will have to be in one corner. But I'll do a very quick tour and I'll review the new stuff. So that might be next week if I can tidy my office over the weekend. And then we will see. But yeah, there's too many things that I can't mention really, which is a bit wild. But I have pre-ordered. I know not all of you will be 40k fans, but I have pre-ordered some of the new Yarrick stuff. And I really like that Graves model, so I'm really tempted to paint that big black wagon of hers, and that'll be fun. So I might squeeze that as a painting video, which no doubt no one will watch because it's 40k, which is usually the way it works. But I'll have fun painting it all the same. let's have a quick last catch up with the chat before I let you all go. And thank you for those of you who have joined today to keep me company. It's always nice to see that you're happy to jump on, and I'm not just talking to myself, though it is weird with just talking on your own. Let's go back. So, I think I've covered most stuff. Crossover. Cambrian Wood Elves, sick. Yeah, I'm sure they'll come up with something cool for it, and maybe it builds into the growing, because so far I think they've got the narrative for the old world pretty good. I like the stories that they're telling across all those arcane journals, so I think they'll have a reason for it if they do it. But it's, as I said, it doesn't feel like the most natural matchup, but maybe they're, yeah, I don't know. I'm just be guessing. We'll see. Skaven All Plastic Skulls are now available for Old World. They should be. They should be. I hope, like most of the Old World community, that at some point there will be a return of lots of stuff, be that one by bit, or as part of a second edition, where they suddenly bring back all of the other stuff. Mark and I talked a little bit about this on our last Old Worlders episode. Which you can still buy Rosemary and Co brushes. Are you not able to get them? Okay. Why is that? Is it? It's quite a few. I noticed today that quite a few. I ordered some more today, and I didn't order them from Rosemary and Co for the first time. I normally order them direct. I picked them up at Hobby Workshop, so I needed a couple of other things as well. I could get them all under one cost of shipping, so to speak, and they had the full range, which was quite cool. So to see them in third-party stores. So maybe if they don't ship, if Rosemary and Co don't ship to you, check out Hobby Workshop. There might be other places to stock them as well. For the price, Rosemary at Mark. Rosemary and Co are good brushes, 45, and you have 4 to 5 brushes, and you start. Yeah, I think for me, I've used some Artis Opus, which are really nice. I didn't find any, and a lot of people say that Rosemary and Co make Artis Opus. I don't know definitively if they do, but they were very, very similar. Artis Opus had a slightly larger handle, and which did feel nicer in the hand. I will go with that. Rosemary and Co, they don't look very pretty. They're very thin, black handle, but the bristles are really good, hold their point, and they're just really, really consistent, and I love that. I would love them to redesign the handles and make them a little bit more flash, slightly bit more ergonomic in the hand. And I've got found out, well, recently, that I've got some arthritis. I won't go into my full health details, but this knuckle swells up quite a lot, so I do sometimes have a bit of pain with my painting hand. Not enough that it stops me painting, but something that feels a bit thicker is nicer in the hand, so I might need to find a nice sheath or something. Sheath is probably not the right word to use, to hold my brushes. I haven't found a good source for those yet, so if anyone knows, or of a file, not that I have the right printer for it, I don't think I can print it in resin, but if anyone knows of anything good, let me know. Send me a message with a link to them. Customs embargo is rough stateside. Yeah, they can't ship to the US still. Yeah, check some of you may find some of the independent retailers will, but if for a small amount, it's going to be a bit. I mean, if you really struggle, hit me up on the Discord, and I will. If you really like to get some, I can always send you some over. I can't promise that you won't get hit with import, but if I can ship to you as a private package, so let me know if you want to get some. I'll sort you out. Yeah. Right. Anyway, I am going to love you and leave you all, because I'm just rambling now, and it's been 55 minutes, and I've done everything I wanted to do. My sponsored stream and shown off that box, which I didn't have time to do the stuff I wanted to do with it a little bit earlier on, but it's lots and lots of fun there. Thank you everyone for joining in today. This will obviously go up for people who missed it as well, so if you're watching it on replay, so to speak, thank you very much as well. And yeah, thank you very much, and I will love you and leave you.